That's right, Aki's A-List, brought to you by my friends over at Circa Sports Illinois. Download Circa Sports today. There's some great values up there, too, that I can go over a little bit later with Bears bets. Like they've got the best value for the Bears to make the playoffs. I've been telling you about the Bears to win the division. I think on most sites, like the Bears to make the playoffs is minus money. It's still plus. Like plus 105 or plus 110 for the Bears to make the playoffs. So check out Circa Sports Illinois today. Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Sports betting the way it should be. What do you got, Tyler?
Bring your ass.
Bring your ass, yes.
All right, well, let's start with some Cubs because they lost 3 of 4 from over the weekend. And one thing that's started to peeve me a little bit is the catching position with Yan Gomes and Miguel Amaya. Neither guy's hitting above 182 right now, and the defense just is not there for either of those guys as well. You look at some of the framing numbers, they're not favorable. I mean, Miguel Amaya has trouble catching and blocking the ball as well. Will Jed Hoyer make a trade for a catcher before the deadline?
No.
I think there are too many holes. I mean, yeah, I'm a Waddle. I'm sort of with you. Like you have got to prioritize 2 arms minimum, including a closer in the bullpen. And you probably you're going to have to add a hitter unless that hitter is the catcher, which I don't think there are many good offensive catchers these days. How many guys are you going to be able to trade for?
Yeah, I don't think that you have the luxury, unfortunately, to trade for a catcher at this point. You've got other issues that you need to address.
Tyler, do you have a guy in mind? Like, who's out there?
Martin Maldonado could be pried from the White Sox.
Who? Yeah, he's like the only guy worse, I think.
It would take a sweet offer, but...
Yeah, I know offensively. Like, I mean, I know he can...
Throwing the T-shirt, Kevin, it's a deal.
I did see someone floating a name from the Blue Jays yesterday, Danny Jensen, and it kind of comes down to whether or not the Blue Jays are going to start to part with some pieces.
Yeah,
hasn't he been one of their better hitters this year? I heard
he's hitting 333 right now in 22 games.
Yeah, that's a team that's got a whole lot of payroll and not a lot of wins this
I'm
year.
looking. What is their record right now after they won
21
today,
and
beating
25, I believe.
But
maybe 22 and 25 after today's game.
And weren't they sort of in the same boat last year and they didn't sell anything?
Yes, and I think, you're right. Like, their payroll is astronomical. Remember, they tried to get in on the show or the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes as well and did not end up winning that. So it feels like they're
21 and 25 with the win today.
It feels like they're in a sort of where the Padres were last year, where a lot of payroll, not much to show for it. And if things aren't trending the right way, that seems like an ownership that is going to move quickly to try to offload some of that money.
I heard Cap and Jonathan, I thought it was today.
Yes, I think it is, because this is what I was going to bring up. Go ahead.
About Bichette.
Yes.
But where do you play him? Do you play him at third?
Yes.
Okay. Now he had a great day today. I think he was 4 for 4, but he's had a down year.
He's hitting in the low 200s. But I would I don't know if they would consider selling low on him, even though his average is low and his numbers are low. But maybe
only 26.
You could buy him lower. And there were rumors about him. I was very intrigued with that conversation that they brought up today.
I would definitely look at his. He's 26 years old. He's been a guy that's going to hit you in excess of 20 bombs a year. He's had a very bad start to this season, but if you go back and look at the body of work, and if he was available, I don't know how you're not involved in the conversation.
Good flow too.
Yeah, great flow. Another guy, though, hasn't Meller pointed out to us? Another guy who's good to very good, but not great, right? When he's at his best.
Bichette?
Yes, another guy that is just you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think that, but I don't think you're paying superstar. What's his contract?
Yeah, he's got
it's
3 for 30.
He signed
a 3-year, $33 million contract last offseason.
Yeah, so it's basically Ian Happ. Yeah, but look, I get what you're saying, Silly, but you can win with guys like him.
Oh,
if
no,
he's
for
playing
sure,
well.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think, though, you would get him hoping that you would extend him then or something. Because then, what, he'd only have 2 years left?
Look. I mean, I think that he's a better offensive player than what you just spent $170 million on. Isn't that what they spent on Swanson?
Yeah.
Now Swanson's a better fielder, but
Yes. Yeah, you wouldn't move. I don't think you would not move Dansby
No.
Swanson. Like, then
No, but
you would
I'm
just
saying-
you would what, DH Morrell then? I mean, Morrell still gives you the most pop out of any guy in that lineup.
I'm just saying, like, he's making 3 for 33.
Oh, yeah.
And is a better offensive player than the guy you gave I mean, I think if you could add him, if they would be willing to move off of him, I would definitely be in the conversation. Play him at third.
All right, the one bright spot from the weekend was Shota Imanaga, and he hurled another shutout performance with 7 scoreless innings, 7 strikeouts as well. He is proving to be one of the best signings Jed has made ever since he took over as general manager. I ask you this, Shota Imanaga currently second in Cy Young odds, only behind Zach Wheeler. If their names were flipped, like let's say Zach Wheeler had Shota's stat line right now, would Shota be the favorite?
Yes. I think if Shota's name was anybody else, he would overwhelmingly be the favorite. Like, if he had anybody with a more well-known name or a bigger body of work in the U.S., that he would be I still think people believe that there's going to be a fall.
Yeah.
And I don't know how drastic it's going to be. He was always a very good pitcher in Japan. He was never like an ace.
Give
And
up
like
home runs, right?
Yeah, the home run ball. Strikeouts, home runs.
Yeah.
Fly ball pitcher. But he has been so much fun to watch.
Well, I was reading the article today about how he's exceeding, and it's a small sample size, and there's a ways to go, but he's exceeding the impact that Fernando Valenzuela had when he came up with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, it's just crazy the numbers that Shota has put in place so far. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 7 Ks. The ERA is what it is. It's just good for him. And he's a fun guy to watch, and he seems to be a guy that enjoys the game. Just a really good story.
Let me put it to you this way, Tyler. If Justin Steele had those numbers, and like on the same team, Justin Steele would be the odds-on favorite to win the Cy Young after what he did last year. And it wouldn't even be close. But it's still Shota, and we haven't seen a full year from him in Major League Baseball. Like, I think the Cubs deserve a lot of credit on what they've done with starting pitching. It's just it's like what Javier Assad has done, and now you're finally getting what you're expecting from who they signed last year in JMO. And everybody but Hendricks has really performed. I want Wicks to come back. Wicks has been pretty good when he's healthy. They have you need Steele to get back and going again. But I love their starting rotation. It's just a matter of the bullpen and now the offense to go.
Yeah, the bullpen's one of those things that's interesting because Tyson Miller's had a couple appearances so far. He looks like he's all right. Nothing too high leverage yet. And then Leiter has been good for you all season long. Almonte was going really well right before you had to put him on the IL with a shoulder injury. And then Ben Brown's giving you some nice appearances out of the pen. Like, the pen might be building something when healthy, but it's the glaring hole of there is no closer on this team right now.
None. No. No. He makes me what heart attack Hector? Is that officially his nickname now?
Nervous Neris?
Nervous Neris, heart attack Hector. One of those. He makes me nervous.
This is not the role you hired him for, right? So to think that he's going to be your closer, if that's what you're asking him to play a role that you didn't initially expect him to play.
Right. He's never been a closer. He's always been a setup guy.
Right.
He's like Strope is what he is. They compare him to Strope. Strope was honored this weekend, by the way.
Oh, he was? Where?
Yeah, he threw out the first pitch. He signed it, obvious shirts. Yeah. They have a T-shirt for him, and then he threw out the first pitch this weekend.
Wow.
I love Pedro, yeah.
Of course you did.
Bob Costas, not so much.
That's right. Because of the hat? Was it
No.
'cause of
Remember it was like he's pointing to the heavens as if to ask for forgiveness.
Yes, that's right. After a bad inning.
You know what? I have a theory, too. I think Alzolay hurt himself after celebrating the way he always does. I think he actually hurt himself, and he's dealing with an injury that comes from celebrating.
Like his arm?
Yeah, and his chest. Like, because he used to smack the crap out of his chest. We could have seen this one coming a mile away. We knew this, didn't we, last year?
I did not think it would be this great of a fall this
Well,
quickly.
that may be true, but you could, if you came into this season and you were really confident that he was going to be your closer, then that's kind of a shame on you a little bit, isn't it?
No, I agree with you. I always envisioned it to be like a Hector Rondon thing.
Yeah.
Like he still had a spot in your bullpen, just probably not long-term closer.
Real quick, I want to hit on the NBA playoffs because we got one dud and one good one yesterday. The dud was the Pacers waxing the New York Knicks, and then the good one was the comeback effort by the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. The series have looked good if you just look at, a lot of games going to 7, but the playoff games themselves, a lot of blowouts. However, Anthony Edwards, a little bit of a rough game for him yesterday, but he did hit a couple of big shots late to help propel the Timberwolves. Has Anthony Edwards been the story of the NBA playoffs?
It's a great question.
I think he's been one of them, but even in I think that even in a loss in Game 7, Jalen Brunson has been as big a story as any. Like, that's a Knicks team that was missing 4 quality rotation guys. Like, I know that injuries are part of the game, but I mean, I don't think that the Pacers get past the Knicks if the Knicks are healthy. And what Jalen Brunson did was, and maybe I'm just biased because I'm so enthralled with him being a player that I never anticipated him ever being, but like he was doing stuff.
What about the duo in Dallas? You know, like a lot of people never thought that they would go far, that they would mesh, and Kyrie was going to be a guy that would never win at a high level again, the way he was kind of tossed to the side. And here they are now in the Western Conference Finals. And yeah, go ahead.
Isn't that one of the more underrated stories or the more under the radar stories of at least the postseason? I heard Jonathan talking about it this morning. That Kyrie Irving, he's not saying anything. So he's not drawing attention to him. And all he's doing is playing excellent basketball on the court. And it's refreshing, I think, for everyone involved, including the Mavericks.
Sure. He's always had the talent. He's always been fantastic. And what they've Oklahoma City was everyone's darling, and what they were able to do, and they were fighting for their lives all NBA season to come together now, and they're a round away from making it to the NBA Finals.
Real quick, can I mention this? I think one of the stories of the NBA is that over the last several years, there've been no threat of a repeat, and whether or not you don't enjoy that, that's a huge story, I think, as well, especially after the series of quote-unquote dynasties or back-to-backs that we've seen in the last decade plus.
I think the Western Conference Finals is going to be really exciting, but I texted you guys this. I think the Eastern Conference Finals is going to probably be the lowest-rated Eastern Conference Finals in years.
I was going to ask you guys, like, the NBA has to be loving the stars that are still around in their playoffs right now, but they've got to be tweaking about the markets that are still in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, and look, if it was a Knicks Celtics matchup, I think that has some juice. But Knicks and Pacers doesn't have any juice, I don't think, for the television.
And I don't think it will be competitive either. Like, I don't think any of the Celtics series has been competitive. Even though they've given them a game or some of the games have gone down the wire. I just haven't been interested because I know that the Celtics were going to just ultimately win.
Yeah.
So, all right. Today is, I want to ask you this question. We got to play the Waddle test game. Sometimes Waddle scoffs at anniversaries as far as where we celebrate them when it happens in the regular season. Where does this game fall as far as like the memory meter as far as an anniversary? Okay? Because I believe an anniversary that happened today is one of the more memorable games that we've had maybe in the last 20 years in baseball in this town for a regular season game. I want to see if you guys agree or disagree with that statement coming up next.